Got no traveling shoes.
Oh, good Sunday morning. I had to sit through a 41-minute video and then a 29-minute video this morning for Sunday morning, where I got to bed early last night. I actually went to sleep at 6:30, got up extremely early, which I tend to do. But Amy Charron put up a couple videos. The first one was entertaining, very entertaining. The first one was her walking up and down a county road with Johnny following her, telling her it's not wise to walk up and down a county road in the night, and her screaming and hollering, waiting on the police that never showed up. Somebody tried to pick her up. One guy offered her a ride. Johnny was right. I've been to Baytown. My son, the Master Chief, used to live there. And to walk up and down County Road in the dark like that, with the Sonoma Cartel delivering meth in that town, which is Baytown is a seaside place where it's accessible by highways. It's also accessible by the Gulf of Mexico and the Houston, Harris County, Baytown area. A lot of the drugs that come into the country actually come through there. Okay, on ships, legitimate ships, packed with coffee or whatever, and illegitimate stuff. So there is a certain element of danger when you're out there walking up and down the street. So I concur with Johnny on that. But the other things that came out, I want you to notice, I've had some experience with people in Nashville and Austin, LA, like that. Out of Amy's own mouth, she says that they did some filming of a TV show, and then they had, from what Johnny said, I guess they had tacos and they had some wine. Now, I'm not saying for sure. Johnny admitted he had some wine, okay? Amy didn't admit it, that she had some wine, but she looked an awful lot like somebody just came from a wine party stumbling around drunk. She wasn't physically stumbling, but mentally she was stumbling. And if you look at the second video, she's about half down from that manic stage. And toward the end, she actually calms down and says, God bless everybody and God bless your children. And, oh, y'all have a good night. See, whatever happened, be it a mental state of mania, wine, drugs, whatever happened, the mental state that she had in the first video was radically different from the one in the second video. Okay, now the rule is, and I'm not going to run these videos. They were too long and everything, and it's no point in it. She puts them up publicly because that's the narcissism. That's wanting attention. When I put one of her videos up publicly, she rolls in it because that's the view. I mean, that's what she's after. So I'm not going to do that. What I am to do is I always address the issues that she accuses me of. Okay, that's not against the law. And at number one, she said the police told her it was illegal and illegally. I've spoke to police in my life, and the one thing they always say is, I can't advise you legally. Justice of the Peace Potman, my friend, the judge, would tell me, I can't advise you legally. The only advice he ever gave me when I talked to him about the stuff in the shed, I told him I got some stuff in the shed over there, and I told him the whole situation. He said, well, it's abandoned. You don't have to evict it. You sell it, burn it in the burn pit, whatever you want to do. It's abandoned. The woman's had a year and a half to come back and get it. She'd come get it. No, you're not under any obligation to protect her stuff. And there were meth heads around that house. One of the things that happened was Joe's daughter and his granddaughter were both on crystal meth. When I moved into that house, I lived in a front apartment that he made from a garage. Nice apartment, by the way. And the house was filled up with their friends and associates, and they were partying every night. They got into the shed. Joe had his workshop out there, and he lived over in this house here. He was living away from there because his health was going down. But Natalie got in there, and she stole a good amount of his tools, amounting to about $30,000, really, for real, $30,000, okay? he found out he was trying to file a report, had to file a police report in order for the insurance to kick in. And just so happened, he was a staunch old New Yorker, and he always bought from Sears. Well, I happened to have been a manager at the Sears call center down in Round Rock. So I still had friends down there, and I got a printout of everything that he had ever bought. So I could identify specifically with serial numbers the tools that were gone, and he was able to make a police report and achieve an insurance check. However, they could never charge Natalie with stealing the stuff. There was no physical proof that she personally had done it. She had some of her drug friends go in through the back door and remove the stuff, and you couldn't connect her with the crime, so she never got arrested for that. Okay, that was what I said on the radio show with Dion. I won't call her Diane, but I think it's Dion. Anyway, the lady with the blog talk. When I said about the meth heads, and Amy alluded that I was trying to make up something, no, I haven't been back to that house. God, I haven't stepped in the door of the house in over a year and a half now, and much less the shed. But I'm very aware that in the interim, the time that her stuff went in the shed and the time that the new owner took over, okay, I'm not going to put my hand on this Bible over here on this table and swear to God that some druggie didn't get in there and take something and pawn it and buy crystal meth. I wasn't there. When I was there physically in the house, I had me, Daniel, Frenchie. All of us that were living there. Daniel and his friends were in construction, and they always hang out on the porch at odd hours of the night, drinking beer and eating and cutting up and burning logs in the burn pile and all that. Nobody broke in, but we're all gone. We've been gone for a while, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, nobody ever got in there. Hell, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I know for a fact. And on that subject, too, by the way, I have friends. I'm going to expose a little of myself to you, and it's not weird. One of my friends is a real estate broker down in Berry Creek that recently had a problem with the Texas Real Estate Commission, and one of my talents is to write briefs for the Real Estate Commission. I know real estate law, property code, and I wrote a brief for him and helped him untangle that. Now, his wife happens to be a lawyer who represented the Mormon kids up there in San Angelo when Warren Jeffs took his little pitfall and got them a big old $8 million settlement and got the kids back. She's also a criminal lawyer. Her sister-in-law is a criminal lawyer, okay? So I know them. I know these people. And her legal advice, it wasn't like I had a session with her or anything. I just talked to her. She's a friend. I told her about this thing about me going and checking the stuff, and she said, well, you haven't touched the stuff or been around it? I never have. Well, I suggest you don't. Don't become involved. It's none of your business. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because, see, Amy has already shown that she'll turn. In the goodness of my heart, I thought, if I go over there and most of her stuff is still there and everything, I say, Amy, here's your stuff. And see, I didn't hurt you and everything. She'll simply turn around and say, I sold some of it off, or I did this, I did that. So these hands have never touched her stuff, and they never will. They never will. And if she ever found out the house, got over there, that Mormon's going to answer the door, and she's going to say, I want my stuff. And he'll say, no, you ain't going to get no stuff. It's my stuff now. Okay? So that's the end of that. There's no more Amy Charron stuff. It's gone. It's history. Now, the police. I did not call the police on Amy Charron. In fact, I'm going to go further than that. I have never called the police on Amy Charron. In fact, in my life, I've never called the police. Simply, I don't call the police. I grew up in Simmonsville, Texas, which was a little town about 6 miles from here, and it's now incorporated by the city of Killeen. And since I was 11 years old, I was a little street kid running around there with all the little illegals and legals and all that kind of stuff. And I still, when I drive through the neighborhood, people still know me. They still remember me. Because we used to have rafts down Nolan Creek, fish, hunt, shoot guns in the backyard. I mean, it was all kinds of. It was a really nice place to grow up. I have a friend. I have many friends come over. One of my friends I'll call Deputy Diane. Deputy Diane was the chief jailer at the Bell County jail. She excelled at her job, and she became the chief education officer, teaching jailers and deputies to be jailers and deputies. Deputy Diane and her boyfriend Ryan have sat at this very table and ate with me on Thanksgiving. Deputy Diane has made potato salad in this kitchen. Deputy Diane always shows up with a bottle and makes martinis, margaritas, stuff like that. And Deputy Diane knows me and my family personally. She has eaten with Puck. Okay. I talk to her frequently. I see Ryan, he runs a motel. I see him frequently. If the police or FBI wanted to talk to me, they will do exactly what happened during the murder investigation. They will come to this house, knock on the door, and they'll go over here to these two Queen Anne chairs, three Queen Anne chairs right over here, and they will sit and they will talk to me. And I'll always say, like I did with the Texas Ranger that was here with them during that investigation, I said, I need to show you my driver's license. He goes, no, there's no need for that, Mr. Witt. And what it was is my gun was stolen by my son's girlfriend and given to a person who apparently shot a couple of people. Okay. Mainly, they wanted to know, did I have such a gun? I said, yes, and it was stolen. Did you make a report? I said, no, they never find it. He said, well, you need to make a report, please. And so I did with them that moment. I'll never get my gun back because they got the guy. His street name was No Good, believe it or not. And I had actually traded with No Good a year or so before on a legitimate deal. I had a 9mm Smith & Wesson, and he had a 40mm Smith & Wesson. I wanted to get a 40 for the knockdown potential. He wanted a 9 because he didn't like the buck and roll of the 40. So we sat right here on these chairs and just switched guns. Okay. I had Deputy Diane run the serial number when next time she came over, and it was legitimate. He had actually purchased it legitimately, and I'd purchased mine legitimately, so it was a good deal. Apparently, he got crossways in some kind of drug deal up in Waco and processed the case to a higher court. Anyway, that was that. That's why I was drug into it, because Deputy Diane had run the numbers and made a report and everything, and my name was connected with No Good. So they had to know what happened, and I had to tell them this is what occurred. But suffice to say, if I was under any kind of investigation, they would already be here. They would come here, knock on the door, walk in, and the police do know me. I grew up in this town since I was 11 years old. I was a bagman for Phineas Pat Anderson back in the glory days of Avenue D. One of my friends on YouTube or on Facebook was stationed at Fort Hood in the 2nd AD during that period of time. And he can certainly vouch that Avenue D was rough and rowdy, and I was a bagman. Bagman being Pat and Norwell Corporation would gather all their money about 2 or 3 in the morning. They put a deposit slip and all the cash counted up and boiled into a canvas bag. And me and Sandy Lufkin, who was a general manager of the Central Texas operation, would go and drop it into the bank. My job was to have a long coat on with a shotgun under it, and I stood away a distance of about 20 or 25 feet. And if anybody walked up to Sandy and even asked for a light for a cigarette, I was to run them off because he was carrying $50,000, $60,000 to drop into this big slot at the First National Bank. The police knew me. I worked for Pat Anderson. Okay, they knew me well. Through the years, I've run across police. When we were living in Berry Creek, my son Michael was a police officer in Nolaville. Later, he was a deputy. He did tours in Iraq as a contractor attached to the Marines and everything. We were covered up with deputies and police and justices of the peace and everything on the weekends. We had a big, huge house, and party was always on the weekends. And it was safe. One of the things that the officers always like to do is their wives and girlfriends. We had a golf cart, and after dark in the moonlight, they would take their wives and girlfriends and ride around the golf course. And they caught a couple of burglars like that, where kids that were breaking into houses and doing things, and these deputies be driving along, just drive right up on them. So yeah, I'm known by the police. Okay, but now I did not call the police on Amy. She seems to be overly concerned by getting put in a mental hospital, which she probably should be. But she's got the technique down wrong. When I said Title 67, that's not a police matter. That's an MHMR matter, mental health, mental retardation matter with the state of Texas. Where Title 67, the way Brother Theo explained to me, a person can become a threat to themselves and other people simply by aggravating the neighborhood or surrounding people to the point where the people are starting to react. And they are endangering the person that's aggravating them and themselves, which means that Amy's actions are endangering the neighborhood in the fact that she is rousing up the neighborhood. Now, she's got the police running up and down the road in this little country area where they probably don't see any police for a long time. She's walking up and down the street, screaming and hollering at her boyfriend. He's laughing at her. I cannot imagine that she's really actually filming a TV show. To actually film a TV show involves these big old things it looks like a UPS truck with a satellite dish on it, cameras that are as big as this chicken here, about that size, okay, and staff, lots of staff, okay. You know, you can do it with an iPhone if you're talented enough, okay, but that's not what she's saying. She's saying that it's going to come out in March and all this kind of stuff. No, that's a major deal. We just filmed one episode of Shockwave in Berry Creek, just one episode. It took all day. They showed up in the morning at 8 o'clock, 8:30, and they left after dark. And it took all day, and the episode was 10 minutes long. Okay. I never appeared in the episode. They filmed the hell out of me, and I didn't make the cut. That's how detailed these people are. That's not happening out there in Hooterville. Okay. But anyway, I didn't call the police on her. I haven't called anybody. And if she called the police and everything, and they know Wilbur Witt, yes, they most certainly do. I'm known as a writer, a songwriter. I wrote the Killeen National Anthem. I'm known for that. Known for a lot of things. I lived right across the street is a retired judge. This direction over here is the mayor. Okay, the mayor lives right over here. It's the same neighborhood. This is Alan West's house. We bought it from Alan West. Like Amy likes to say, Google that. Google Alan West and see where he retired from the Army. And you're going to see very quickly where he was. Okay, this was Alan West's house. Okay. So yeah, I'm known. My family is known. Deputy Diane knows all about Puck and everything. She knows Timmy. She was the chief jailer when he did his county jail time. She knew him when he was a kid, see? And he come through the chow line with his glasses on. Got a tray of food, and he come back, he took the glasses off, combed his hair a different direction, and tried to get another tray, and she caught him by the neck. And no, it ain't gonna work, Timbo. He also tried to lie out of his last arrest when he got picked up. He dropped his drugs and ran and tried to jump over a fence and tried to tell us that the officers jumped on him. He whooped two of them, but the third one got him. No. We have right across the street over here is a detective lady, pretty thing. Her name is Precious. She grew up in this neighborhood right here, okay? And I said, no, Timmy, you didn't beat up no officer. Precious chased you down and tackled you. So when you stay in a town since 1962, you get known by people, especially if you're a writer. The only disagreement I've ever had on that subject has been with the mayor when I was putting up articles daily on the thing called Nextdoor, which is a site that people in the neighborhood look at and they trade tips and all kinds of stuff, and I thought it would be interesting. And His Honor said, well, you're crowding everybody out. You write so much. And so we come up with a solution. I do a thing on Saturdays I put up yesterday called the compilation. Every day when I write an article, I save the link to that article from the Trib to a page on my WordPerfect. On Saturday, now I'm putting up a section of my book, Cigar Box. Is the article on Saturday, and at the bottom of it is all these links. Okay, so once a week, that article goes to next door, and all the people can catch up with what's happening through the week on this Saturday morning. It's only just agreement I've ever had. Okay. When I left my garage door open a few days ago, I had people text me from around the neighborhood. Your garage door is open. That's the kind of neighborhood I live in. So no, the police aren't after me, and I've got a police record over the years. I have a shotgun charge from 1981. I got a DWI at a country club back in '96, and I got old Ted Montoya, and I got into a tough over real estate and my wife, and he illegally put me on a no trespassing deal. He didn't own the building; he was just an agent there, and the broker didn't even have anything to do with it. Didn't know what happened, but he put me on a no trespassing warning. When I tried to go onto the property, he called the police and he said, there he is, arrested him. He said, well, he hadn't done anything wrong. He's on a no trespassing. He's not on the property. The police officer motioned me to come forward, and my foot touched the property, and I didn't go to jail. I went to the bank because I had to pay the fine, which was about $150. So I've got that on my record too. But I want you to know, for all this that Amy says that I'm guilty of, I can still buy a gun legally. Okay, I'm a retired real estate agent. I had a real estate license legally. Okay, I am a foster parent in Texas legally. Okay, so there you go. There you go. I'm not going to address everything she said in that video. The rule being she mentioned my name a half a dozen times or more and everything, so I'll come back and mention her name. As far as her stuff, Johnny said they're probably watching you right now. She puts her videos up publicly. And if you want to find her, all you got to do is go write in Amy Charron on YouTube. And then you go down there. When you see something that looks like her on the video, and the channel is Amy Charron, okay, just click it, and they're all there publicly. You don't have to hack anything. It's public. The 911 call, you can, Freedom of Information Act, you can get any 911 call you want, okay? But if you do that, you shouldn't use their name or address or anything. But when somebody takes at least 10 contacts on their phone, first off, they record their own 911 call because they don't trust the police. Then they send that recording to those people. They don't actually send the taped recording from the police station. They send their personal recording. Their personal recording. And then get all pissed off because somebody picked it up and put it up on the internet. And this thing about, I marked all my stuff private, me only, and all that. That don't mean nothing. That's just a Facebook thing or a YouTube thing. It's not a legal binding document. Do not touch me. And copyright. I keep getting phone calls. Anyway, this thing I'm doing right here is copyrighted by YouTube. Read the terms of service. When you turn your stuff over to YouTube, they own the right to distribute it and put ads on it and keep the money. Okay, there's none of that copyright stuff. You know. Her very famous evidence. Okay, Ramona Millon made a site for her and photographed and did JPEGs and PDFs and everything of all her so-called evidence. That and Amy refused to pay her. Simple as that. So she put the site up for sale. Originally, when I paid her and bought the site, my original idea was Ramona was very talented, and it was me and Jackie that bought it. Jackie sent her the money, okay? Because this woman was pretty good at doing this. Look, she's done all this crap. We might need her to go ahead and take this site and turn it into WeirdWorks, and we'll use it, okay? I said, well, okay, let's let it run for a while. But I didn't buy that stuff on that site. Was not evidence. It was images of paper, stuff like that. If Amy had very valuable evidence, she's never met Ramona. She's never touched her hand. She sent over the internet images of the stuff. So Ramona took the images and put it up on the site. All I did was take the site down. The very valuable evidence was still in Amy's hands. I didn't take anything. I just took a site down. That's it. So you see very quickly how this stuff starts falling apart. Okay, this is very, very simple. And she was in a very manic phase last night, accusing Johnny of being a drunk. He didn't sound like a drunk to me. In fact, I have a little more respect for him now. He needs to get out of that situation. And it's wearing on his nerves. Well, living with you, honey, will wear on somebody's nerves and, all the other stuff. And anyway, that's all I'm going to do today. I'm not going to bore you guys with this. I've been interrupted twice by phone calls. I'm going to have to stitch this thing together. But that having been said, the rule still remains the same. I'm not going to spotlight her, but when she walks up and down the street and in her room blaring my name out, accusing me of crimes, well, we're going to have a discussion.